Well, what is going on, everybody? We're gonna watch the Illuvium Mega Showcase right here together because I've been too sick the last day to do my own content, so I'm gonna just butcher Illuvium's content. I think it's gonna be amazing. Let's tune in. See what they got for us. I think it's Andrew is back with Grant on his side. And we see a live demo of something. I don't know
Illuvium
what this
Showcase
demo is about yet, but
God, it's been way too long. It's been way too long. I missed all of you so much. I'm sorry we were gone. I'm sorry Grant and I were gone. We were too busy winning awards. Award-winning video games that haven't even been released yet. Here it is. What's up, everybody? Andrew Wall here, host and executive producer at Illuvium. And I'm joined, as always, by the king of leaks, the leak master himself, co-founder of Illuvium, Grant Warwick in the house. What's up, buddy? Welcome back to the show. We've got so many leaks to show everybody. How you doing, buddy?
Don't show me that award ever again. Don't show me that award ever again.
Best lore. I wish my acceptance speech would have been on the live stream. I apologized to Aaron, and I said, I know you tried to keep the lore a secret, but we won an award for it anyway. Hey, the Gamer's Choice Awards.
That's gotta be a troll. That's gotta be a troll.
Oh my God. All right, let's tell everybody what they're in store for today on Illuvium Showcase. This is the show where you get behind the scenes on everything going on at Illuvium, all the assets being created, and today's show is going to be unbelievable. We're going to show you never before seen avatars, in-game cards, Illuvials, merchandise, overworld, and yes, you see it right here, rocks on this episode, friends. And of course, we've got a live demo that's going to be done by Grant Warwick today. He's got over here, he's streaming his Unreal Engine 5 for us. We're going to go through all our video leaks and image leaks first. Then we're going to
I had that set up
into Unreal Engine, live in development from Grant, and show that to you in the second half of Illuvium Showcase. So it's going to be totally insane. Grant, you ready to do this, buddy?
Ask me that in 2.5 hours when we're done.
2.5 hours? Good God. I don't know if I can last that long. All right. We're going to go through the video leaks first
146
and get straight into some really cool cards. These are actually some of my favorite leaks from the episode. Let's show this first card here and tell us where this card will appear and what sort of context we can expect to see this.
So obviously the NFTs are like the Pokemon cards in our game, and we have a very tricky problem to solve.
It looks so good.
Game, we need
I love the grooming, all the hair
to look like this. You know, we need context. What's their affinity? What is their stats? And all of that has to be displayed in game. And then we have the actual NFT stored on the marketplace. Say if someone were to take that Kaka NFT and sell it on OpenSea, take it off of the Illuvidex and sell it elsewhere, you would then just have the raw artwork. And so what you're seeing is how the NFTs will appear in game, which was always going to be a square format, but all of the NFTs in their raw format, it's just raw art, right? It's just a 4K 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second, ultra high quality clean render of each character. But then in our universe, which kind of gives it a little bit more pull to keep it in the Illuvidex, you can see all of the additional stats that are updated live, like how many battles it's won, how it's leveling up over time. So
to me, this is so premium. Instead of having so many video games have a still image representing the card, and sometimes they have some kind of moving background where there's fire or particles or something like that, right? Like a Hearthstone or other card games. Ours are just full-blown, beautiful 3D renders of the characters showing their personality and moving about. And that, to me, takes this to a whole nother level. That takes it to the Illuvium level of quality we're looking to achieve.
And
that is gonna take so much render power from your computer, though. I hope you can like turn it off to play on low-end machines.
Also,
even though it's great, like it's amazing, don't get me wrong. But it's always nice if low-end machines can play it as well.
You can't forget that in the game right now, when you're selecting your characters in the deck, when you hover over them, if you set it in the graphics settings on hover, they will animate. So as you're scrolling through your deck, say you stop and pause on Kakarot, he'll be animated. So,
Okay.
Stoic Emberlinks. Look, just look
They're not all animated all the time. Just when you focus on them. That makes sense.
at it.
Look at that.
Directly at it. This is going to be in the video
Insane,
game.
man.
It looks so beautiful,
Keep
man.
looking at it.
It's so
My
good. Look,
God.
the hair, like the way the hair moves is just amazing.
Maria and Yannick, they've gone Super Saiyan on this. We said, like, when Yannick first came onto this project ages ago, we shared in-game hair cards from the Stage 1 links and the thylacine. And it was just like, people knew, like, holy shit, this doesn't happen in games. And now here we are a year and a half later, and they've done nearly 100 fur characters to a Pixar level. Like those are the types of movies Yannick and Maria worked on. And so we're getting just literal world-class fur and hair cards for our game. And I've said it a million times, no game has done this before, this amount of high-quality fur work. And when Aaron said that we needed to do all of those linkses, I don't think he realized that he wasn't saving us time. He was actually making the game take longer.
Maybe from a design standpoint, doing these. So you guys know what we're talking about. There's a bunch of variations of these Lynx alluvials, including like this water one we're about to show here. And each one has unique attributes and, you know, has a somewhat, definitely a distinctive look, but they're clearly similar, right? So from a design standpoint, it may have saved some time, but I imagine all that hair and the coloration and making them distinct from each other at a glance had to have taken a lot of time on the creative team's behalf.
Each NFT has gone through just 50, 100 iterations. We render it, change it, render it, change it. Anything can go wrong when things are this high fidelity. You have to change it. So if there's 5 hair strands on the main intersecting the eyeball or something like that, it has to go back to groom. That's why we got that super crazy render farm that I was sharing on Instagram, because these frames take a lot of render power. And some of these you're seeing a preview quality, right? We haven't rendered all of these out at 4K yet, but we're getting there. You know, that's the push we're making right now for open beta. We've obviously got the private beta. That's next, where we introduce the next 2 regions. But for open beta, we need the NFTs to be done, or at least the artwork to be done. There may still be passive VFX.
I don't know, man. I don't like Goliath. Or at least I like him the least of the 3. Like Titan or a beast. Scarabog looks absolutely sick, but Goliath kind of looks like he's in the wrong place. The blue really shines out. I don't know. I don't know what it is,
or sounds added to them. But essentially, the artwork needs to be there, because that's what pulls people into wanting those cards.
Agreed. And I just love, like, to me, you know how in Harry Potter, it was a sort of a novel idea for the paintings to come to life. And maybe you had never seen something like that before. For me, it's like that with cards in video games when I see these. The paintings have come to life. And I think after the millions of gamers, tens of millions of gamers see the card not just being somewhat animated or partially treated, they're going to now expect the cards that they collect in video games to be fully realized like this. And I think this is going to set a new industry standard. I agree. I think it is beautiful as well.
And also get this, right? So eventually, and this has been a gargantuan amount of work to render these out, but once you've got the scene set up, all of the animations that the animation department have done are easily imported into these scenes. So say for the signature animation, where the card in the game, you'll notice if you played private beta, you capture the character, it does a signature animation on the card, and then like, woo, like pops up on screen, right?
Yes.
The NFT like spins towards you, and then bang, you've got your NFT. We will render the signature animation in these scenes, so that won't happen just in V-Ray. That won't happen just in Unreal Engine. And then you'll see these characters come to life in those signatures, where here they're a little bit more boring. They're designed to loop, but that's the next phase afterwards. So it's things like that take us out of a open beta to a final game.
Understood. So it's like just when the audience thinks this is the level of quality you're going to get with Illuvium, no, it's actually going to be even better than that. You are Psycho, Grant, and the team is Psycho, and I love it. Like, you're always blowing me away, and I get to see everything internally with where we're taking this. This is so cool.
We wanted this to be more than just a game, right? Like, we wanted to be able to do, if we wanted to, right? Like, have interoperable assets. You can make movies out of them. You can make a Netflix series out of them. These are the assets that we would use if we were to do a cinematic, if we wanted to do cutscenes with these characters. There's no reason if a character becomes super popular to the users, the animators can't go in, animate a cool cutscene of two characters interacting. We've got the scenes now ready to roll, right? All of that hard work was front loaded, which was just a stupid amount of front loaded work to get the characters sorted. But once they are, we've got 10 years of being able to utilize these assets for anything we want.
Agreed.
God,
I think Crystal the Wall has it right. This is more than a game. It's a new universe. That's exactly what Grant was just saying just now. The team is building these assets to be used not just in the video game, the arena game or the overworld game or what have you, to be used in our universe moving forward. And a universe includes more than just games. It includes shows, comic books, shorts, marketing, games, different interfaces, dashboards, mobile apps, VR, AR, like all of these formats are possible with Illuvium because we're creating these assets in a way that can be used across multiple formats. That's forward thinking. I love it. And gosh, let's take a look at just these full screen previews. Just give you just a sense of, just a real sense of the character.
Not everything has sound yet, so you obviously got to realize we're sharing work in progress here, right? So even there's no
one of the best looking Illuvials.
We have a layer. Nico wanted to go in now for each of these and add a unique sound signature for their affinity and class. So if it's Water Bulwark, it has its own signature sound that plays, and we're just trying to solve that right now without adding too much work. But it's just an ambient background track to the cards that just give it another layer. So some
audio
of them
on
have
top.
That.
Very
some
cool.
of them have that here. I don't think these are the ones Dimitri has been working on. The last
these did
few
not
weeks.
have audio. I checked all of these ones. These did not have audio baked into the renders.
Yep.
But in a future episode of Showcase, let's show the ones with audio so people can get more of a sense. I mean, even, God, that's so nuts. Even the cards are going to be immersive. Like, what? That's so cool, man. I love that. People are asking about holos, or holos, I guess is how we've been pronouncing it. Grant, when are you going to show more of that holo animation that is so breathtaking?
So we're showing in this leak what the holos and dark holos will potentially look like in the game. But for the NFTs, we won't show that, right? Open beta will go live and you will see the holos in the open beta. Aaron wanted to hold the lore back. I wanted to hold back what the holos look like. Now, we have shared a couple of work in progress shots of what it could look like to excite people, but we're not just going to get on showcases and start sharing that stuff as we go. So I think that's important, because to me, that's what pulls people in for the long term. For Aaron, it was the lore, right? Like, don't reveal the lore, because if you give people that, by the time the game's out, they aren't going to care about it. So you can give away breadcrumbs, which we've done, but holos will be absolutely outrageous. No one's touching them. I said in that interview back a year and a half ago, no other shading artist in the world would ever be able to replicate what we have done visually to make those. Dimitri and I put our soul into that. We have been tweaking and optimizing and improving that shader, which is the most complex shader ever created by any human being on Earth.
That's wild.
Fact. Like, I can guarantee that, right? I've seen it all. I used to be a shading artist, right? No one is touching that. And so that's our ace up our sleeve for making Illuvium unique. And I just think people are going to freak the hell out when they get the holos and dark holos happening.
Indeed. Very cool. And earlier I showed this this particular animation with the camera moving about, what are we showing? What is the progression on this alluvial that we're showing here?
This is the stage 2 Caribou, and it's just the walk cycle Alex has been working on for this guy, because obviously we've got a bunch of characters that haven't been implemented in the game yet, and characters like the Caribou, people haven't really seen those yet, and we are now, like, you know, week by week we get closer and closer. Right now, if I go into the Illuvium game, we've got 7 new character lines implemented of a total of 21 new characters that are playable in the game now, very close to being finished. And the Caribou, the Panda, they're some of the last to go in. But we've got this, we can keep rolling. We can keep getting through. There's so many leaks in this episode.
You got it, no problem. So here's a turtle comparison. So what are we showing here? I know in previous episodes, you want to keep the model simple and clean, and clean them up is a lot of the task. Is that what this is showing?
We're showing the work Julian has done, who's one of the sculptors on our team, doing things like muscle and skin simulation for the NFT artwork. So every single NFT, we want to bring the life out in them, right? So when you're seeing those 4K loopable NFTs, you're staring at them for ages, right? And when you start to stare at stuff for ages, you'll start to, just it's human nature, pick apart things that don't look real. And so things like if the throat is breathing and the throat skin isn't going up and down, or the muscle in the arm isn't slightly jiggling the right way, you'll pick up on that, and they look static and they don't look real and lifelike. So for all the NFTs, we do a tech art pass where he will literally frame by frame sculpt in skin movement and muscle jiggle. And for some of them, it's very subtle, but it helps, right? Like, you know, at the level we're going to.
Oh, my mic was muted.
That's not.
I was saying that's how I see them, with my lowest quality graphic settings. And that's how everybody else sees them. I really got to buy a new PC.
Every
That's so
character
cool.
has to have this.
Oh, look at this Komodo dragon.
Cute.
This is the
We've got
NFT
the
art,
render of
right?
this. I think I did send you the render of this. Maybe it went in too
I've got a
late,
stage
but-
2 as well. Look, guys, I'm only sharing half of the leaks Grant gave me today. He gave me, I think, 170. I could only fit 90 in this episode. So I'm sorry. I know Grant said, can we just go hard 90 minutes and show all the leaks? I'm like, we'll just do half of them today. So there's probably more Komodo dragon on the books for next week.
Fucking thumbs downs in the chat there.
Well,
Andrew's
come
lost
on,
a lot of
man.
fans.
Whatever. You shut up.
4-hour leak show. It's all good.
The audience likes jiggle physics, but the Komodo Dragon S1, this is the NFT art, and then we also have the stage 2 here. And this is, I guess this is the one more commonly known as Snoop Dogg alluvial. I mean, look at those eyes.
This is Crunk.
Crunk, huh? Okay.
It's Hetty, Crunk, and Blotto.
Okay, those are the names. Let it be so.
Just animation for the idols that we're doing work on.
Makes sense. And then we
They're
have
in the
this,
game now.
I believe this was this one, is this Axodon?
Yes, this is Axodon. This one you can see a little bit more clearly. Like you see in the throat, if you look at the throat, see when he breathes, there's kind of like a sag in the neck and stuff like that.
Got
Like
it. It's making it more believable and lifelike. That's cool.
Yeah.
More cinematic, more like the creatures you'd see in movies, let's say, that need to be more detailed, or you lose it. You lose the immersion.
Okay, I've said that like this is Pixar quality and things like that. That's not like 100% true, right? Because if we were to make a Pixar movie, the low topology wireframe would be much more optimized for offline rendering. Like it'd be much more high res. Our low res topology is for games. So when it comes to tech art passes and muscle sim and stuff like that, we can't go as psychotic, but that would be easy to update at a later point if we needed to, right? But I don't think we do, right? Like my idea was always we could even make a show or a movie in Unreal Engine if we really needed to. Like the assets are good enough to make, look at Pokemon, the art in the series wasn't exactly that great, right? Like, the story was great, but you don't need Pixar.
Man, it's already the best graphics of all games out there. It doesn't need to be better graphics than like CGI movies.
Pixar level CGI to tell the story of Illuvium.
No, I mean, you just need good character design and
Yes.
then good story along with the character design. That's what Pokemon has done so well. Now, this is a grass square. What are we trying to show with this grass? I didn't get it.
Well, this is where we're at with all of the regions, right? You start getting down into the literal minute details like grass and flower blades and things like that. So each of those assets needs to be created. And when we first started, it's very hard to invest the time and energy into doing that when we had, like, you know, you saw the showcase episodes. We had hundreds and hundreds of plants to do. Now we have heaps of these subtle assets to do, you know? So we're getting down, like, there's no more big assets really being developed. We're getting down into moss fibers, vines hanging from things, little rock decals and stuff like that. So all of that stuff is what makes a AAA game AAA. And the set dressing artists like Vanya, Salvatore, and Emil go through the world just adding that touch of detail. So if you've got a abyssal basin plant and it's not looking very sat into the world, you can mask certain parts with moss and things like this hanging.
Got it. So this is sort of like getting toward the finish line.
Man, set dressing must be such a fun job. You just run around in the world and decorate it. My girlfriend would love that.
And finishing touches on a lot of these.
Yeah.
Got it.
We
wanted
were at
to
the finish line with assets.
That's so exciting. I wanted to do a sneak preview of something we're going to show next week. Don't say too much yet, Grant. What the hell are these crazy bubbles? Don't tell them what it is. I'm just going to show. We're in their next episode. Grant will tell you what these crazy bubbles are. But I've got like another 30 videos we're going to show you in the next episode, everybody. Don't worry. What are the bubbles? Grant, don't tell him.
I want to tell them.
Don't tell them. We have to give them something to look forward to in the next episode.
Tease.
All right, we're going to take a quick break to show you a leak that my team made. You loaded this up in the folder you wanted to show everybody. It was our Illuvitar's date reveal video. I'm going to play this one really quick. These are, just so you guys understand our process in making these videos, we used some of the scenes that you're going to see in this video across multiple promotions for Illuvitars, and I, as the producer, go remix these assets for advertisements, for data announcements, for explainer videos, and what have you. So this is the one leak I can say I worked on. All of the rest is the rest of the super geniuses. I'll play this real quick. It's about a minute, and we'll come back and take a look at all the image leaks. Then the live demo right after that. See you in just a moment.
He's trying to play it down, but he's proud like a father. Hell yeah, I'm so stoked for that. That was a good video. That is a good teaser trailer.
It's team effort on those videos. Andy Kang is the super genius that edits them. Nico helps us do the sound. Florian and the art team do the art. It's a team effort. Go to illuvium.io/illuvitars and register for the most mind-bending avatar profile picture NFT project of all time. You think the level of quality we bring to video games is impressive? Wait till you see the level of quality of these Illuvitars. We're actually going to show some of them in this episode in terms of visual leaks. Now, really quick, before we move forward, I want to make sure it's clear to everybody as I'm showing some of this stuff that nothing we're talking about today is financial advice. I know that you guys are geniuses for tuning back into this show, and you're following the best projects and the most cutting-edge technology out there. And, of course, you're here for Grant, because he's so ridiculously good looking. We are really, really bad at finances. I mean, take a look at this meme right here. Our crypto balances look like this, bro. Our total returns down 50%. Our Venmo account is only got $17 in it. We don't even know how to use a crypto wallet over here. So this is not financial advice. That's the point of sharing that. All right, Grant. Thank you for sharing that meme, Grant. I like it. Now let's get into some.
Something of an investor myself.
I'm so. It's such a good meme, right? All right, we got a couple memes here in the image leaks to share with everybody, and this one was fun. I just like this one. I could just watch it over and over again. Look at the joy on her face. Just goes boop. It's perfect.
It's so hard to find the random meme content in our Discord now. Even I get lost trying to find it. But every time I do, I'm glad that it takes me like a month because they build up and you can just scan through laughing at how dumb they are.
That's awesome. And here's another one that I shared with Grant on Twitter, with somebody replying to Grant saying, my PC runs Illuvium great, but when I open Fortnite, it crashes, lol. Very good. This is all of your leaks. This one right here is probably my favorite leak of the episode. Everybody wants to know when can they boop their credit card and whatever to buy this? What is it? Grant, hit us with that info.
It looks CG, but actually it's a 3D print that Andre has been working on. So I've got so we've obviously been very busy, right? So when we bought the 3D printer stuff in preparation for doing statues and things like that, I have shared some of that stuff, but we just got too busy, right? Like the game has to come first, things like merchandise, but things like this, Andre has been doing himself, right? Like we don't ask, he's got a 3D printer himself. And when you're sculpting these characters, you want to see them brought to life. So this is real, right? This is a photograph of a statue. And eventually, as part of the merchandise store, you'll be able to buy alluvial statues. You can see that this is Apon, and the tail is just not connected right now. Like, see, there's like a little nodule for it to clip onto.
There's another leak here where the tail is clipped on here, and then is this just paint on top, or is this some sort of metallic finish? Or it's just paint?
Yeah, it's just paint, right? And we need to find someone. Eventually we will get to the point, right, where like we've massively reduced our scope in terms of hiring and expansion because of runway, but we're still planning this stuff, right? So once we get runway sorted, hopefully through Illuvitas, we get back on the growth train and start prepping for things. These are the types of things that the community really wants: plushies, statues, clothing. Clothing is still 100% rolling, but I mean, I would love to have stuff like this scattered around my desk. So it's a franchise, we said from the start, it's not just a game, it is a universe and it is a franchise, and you have to be able to tackle everything to successfully hit everyone in the mainstream market.
Absolutely. And if you look at franchises like Pokemon, they make the majority of their money actually in merchandise, and that actually funds all the video games you like to play with Pokemon. So merchandising is very important. Here's our favorite Snoop Dogg alluvial. Are these just stills from the previews we saw earlier?
Yeah. So these are work in progress, right? I've been working on the Komodo Dragon line, and some of them aren't completed yet, because obviously as soon as we set up the scenes and material...
Yo, I'm gonna call it right now. They're gonna do like a partner NFT skin Komodo Dragon edition Snoop Dogg. They're gonna bring Snoop Dogg in it, and they're gonna do like a custom design skin for the Komodo Dragon for him.
Materials for lighting.
We start to notice
problems with animation, textures. You can see in the game it looks fine, but in the render here, his claws, like his hands look glowing, but it doesn't really make sense. Like it's not very clean, so we have to go back. But I just thought I would share work in progress because I love this character. It's such a cool character in the game. That stage to the front, you can see the difference.
Your audio is getting a little muddled there, Grant. I don't know if it's just me.
What about now?
That's better. Yeah, we just missed the last two sentences you said. If you don't mind saying this one more time. I heard you saying we needed to work on the claws. It doesn't make sense. Right. They're glowing so damn much. And then we didn't hear what you said after that.
On the stage 3, right? Like it's very easy to miss things in the game. But when you render them out in V-Ray, things start to poke out at you because you're zooming in right now. You can see literally every single flaw or mistake in a texture. And that just means that we go through that work in progress before rendering animation out. and that's where we're at.
Got it. Japan Carbon is feeling this character. Look, I hear you, bro. I hear you. The level of detail is phenomenal on these characters. I mean, it's just mind-bending. And I love the way that we stage them with the clean, reflective floor, and then with the color.
Did Andrew just say he's high as fuck?
Coordinated background. It's so beautiful. Look at the level of detail on this. Have you guys ever seen this level of detail on a massive inventory and collection of characters in a game before? For launch? This is not the expansion. This is not the DLC. This is what we're going to be launching with, guys. We have already promised open beta in 2023. We're going to be moving into private beta 3 with Arena soon. It just keeps rolling. Tens of thousands of people are playing our games and giving us feedback. It just keeps moving forward. Look at the detail in this flower, man. Get out of here.
No passive VFX either, right? Like all the little things that bring it to life. I'm pretty sure we've got this one animated now. Just you kind of cuckered us on the amount of leaks this week, so some of those.
Oh, come on, dude. It was just a logistics thing. It took me 5 hours to load all the leaks into my editor. Cut me a break.
It's
all right.
So good.
Is this water links or is this a different one?
Air.
Buddy?
This is air.
Air. Okay, I'm sorry. The color is different.
It's like,
yeah.
Hey, how do we make the coolest animal on Earth, lions, even cooler, and just take it to another level?
By giving them laser eyes, obviously. So nice design choice, everybody. Give them blue, colorful claws. Coming to a store near you. Air Lynx claws.
So, like, the amount of work into this collection, I cannot wait until all of them are there. 205 to complete the entire deck with the mystery alluvial that hasn't been revealed. All affinities, all classes in one.
Look at that face. And notice the design variations. The previous one had a did not. Obviously, the colors are distinctive, but the hair is also distinctive with each of these designs. It's got to be difficult to make these different at a glance outside of the coloring, right? Now, obviously, this water one has dripping water on their face, and that's got to be tough if you line them all up next to each other. I know you did that in a previous episode.
Yeah, Maria and Yannick are just like Terminators, right? The amount of work they've had to do to bring this to life. But it's never been done before, and that's the thing that excites me about it. You can't compare it to anything because it hasn't been done. So when we've got our collection of characters, you know, can you imagine being, let's just say Illuvium does pop off, right? When we do become the next modern Pokemon, can you imagine someone coming along in the future and saying we have to outdo this?
I mean, they would be able to potentially, if they have like a 6-7 year timeline and they have their 500+ person studio using kind of legacy techniques and going through that process, then sure, they could develop a new intellectual property and they could go to this level of detail. But that would put them 5-6 years behind us. If they got started today.
You'd just be like, what the hell? Like, how? Like, I mean, what's the point? Even if we do it, there's no guarantee we don't just become a clone of what Illuvium has done. So,
well, I think that's what's going to end up happening is I think we're going to end up showing that this is the successful model. Create a compelling intellectual property where people aren't in on this because of investment or finance first. They're in on this because they love the characters, because they love the universe, because they want to play the games, because they want to have the experiences.
Well, to be honest, it was still the finance and all the Web3 stuff first, and then came the characters and all the emotional attachment to the great quality of the IP.
And that's the actual secret. Like, it's not that hard. You need to make a compelling universe and a compelling intellectual property, or no one will give a shit about what you're doing.
And
that's it.
It's like the website design, right? I wasn't even following that type of stuff because Florian and the web team just do such a good job on that type of stuff. So I just focus on the game. But when they updated the homepage, one of the first comments I saw was, oh, it's so good that they took out all the references apart from the essential stuff to blockchain and stuff like that. And that's like from the very start what I was saying, like no one cares, right? Like it's not hating on our back end blockchain development, but like mainstream gamers don't give a shit. Like they're not going to want to go on a Web3 gaming site and just see all this crap related to crypto. It's just got to be a game.
I agree.
So close.
I mean, look at every successful intellectual property. Like, people didn't play League of Legends because of the free-to-play model. Like, they didn't get in because of free-to-play model. They got in because it was the best game in its genre with a compelling intellectual property. Like, it's a really simple equation for success. My goodness, just for folks that are not familiar, this is Komodo Dragon, right? Stage one?
Eddie. Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I say Komodo Dragon?
Yeah, Komodo Dragon Stage 1. His name is Hedy.
Hedy is the name. Thank you.
Hedy,
I need to.
And if you know the reference, you know the reference.
If you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know.
God, look at even the eyes, like, man, the reflection on the eyes. They're not done. Okay, no. So there's going to be a greater level of detail.
Eyes are being redone. So yeah, they don't feel real. You can't see into the...
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have depth to it, right? That will soon be. He's got the biggest eyes in the game relative to his size, so they're going to be spectacular. Maybe I don't know what will be shared in this episode, but obviously there was some leaks of.
Yeah, he's totally right. It looks like a teddy bear eye.
There were some
like
eyeballs in one of the baskets. Look at this, like algae or mold on the back too. This level of detail. The shrooms popping off. It's just such a wild character design. Just the green energy coursing through the veins, but it's just so good. It's so good. Who is this cutie?
That is the Squiz, Stage 1, the Church of Squiz.
Mm-hmm. You see Squiz looking into the heavens here, like just glancing into infinity.
Oh, far out. He's one of the Stage 5 characters, so he's one of the most powerful characters in the game. He's the only character, I believe, that keeps his affinity the entire way through. So he's shock the entire way through, Stage 1, 2, and 3. Whereas all other characters either gain a class or an affinity as they go to Stage 3. So, and I believe Stage 3 Squiz is the only levitating character as well. Every other character stands on the ground, whereas he levitates.
Even the details have details, Grant. Perfect. So good. Love it. This is my second favorite leak of the episode outside of the cards that we showed earlier. Look at this 1990 style chain right here, accessory. Oh my god, it's so good. I love it.
I really hope Illuvitars goes crazy. You know what I mean? I hope this is what people want in the space, because obviously the card game coming out to complement all of the artwork that we've worked on, that Roger has been directing with Sophia and Svetlana and Dan. And I mean, they've done so much illustration work. You see all this stuff happening with AI artwork coming through and looking great, but we've done this handmade, tailored. I really hope it pops off. I really hope Illuvitars. We're 3 weeks away from Illuvitars, so we'll see how it goes. Illuvitars is not something that when it was originally ideated, I was that excited about, because I was thinking to myself, like, the actual NFTs in the game are going to be more popular than the Illuvitars. But then when you see that, like, the rarity of these and the fact that they're usable in all Illuvium related games, it's more like a long-term thing, getting the rare ones early so that in 5 years time or whatever, you've got no one will have that profile picture when you've got millions of players in the ecosystem.
Yep, and the collection game is going to be so fun to fill up that collection, to fill up that book, if you will. I just busted out my old Magic cards the other day from when I was a teenager, and the feels I had flipping through the pages of that binder were incredible. And I have some old Magic cards, and I think that players that buy these Illuvitars, these early Genesis set Illuvitars, the first alpha set, whatever, we're going to settle on with the name, they are going to flip through that collection later on and have a similar feeling. You were there early. You got the first ones, and it's going to have a unique connection with you. This entire gaming revolution we're on right now. Merchandise art for plushies. Everybody asks when plushies. It's just a work in progress, Grant. How come I don't have the plushie snuggling with me in bed right now?
Plushies exist right now in a factory in the Netherlands. It's just we got to like iterate on them. You know, everything in this game needs to be high quality. So we send through reference like this. They'll send us back a first work in progress of the plushie. The head looks wrong and stuff like that. Everything has to get to that Illuvium quality, and they're coming. Plushies are coming. I believe I did share in the Leaks channel one of the first work in progress shots of Axon, stage 2 axolotl character.
The mailman came.
Great, right? But they are coming, which is exciting.
That is really exciting. Okay, there you go. There's your closest you can get to when plushies, when they're good and they're.
Hey, my girlfriend is gonna have such a nice time once the plushies and all the merchandise is out, because she never know what to get me for, like, I don't know, Christmas or whatever, or my birthday. So there you go.
Ready. We're not going to send you something that looks like a knockoff of our own brand. All right, so we've got some design leaks that I want to show all of you. First, let's go with the memes. Now, this is particularly relevant.
God.
I mean, I'm doing a whole Illuvitalks episode tomorrow, Grant, about regulation, getting the opinion of some really smart people. But it's funny. Yeah, the government lets crypto and NFTs pop up. They're like, copying our homework, are they? Of course. Of course they are. So hopefully we can have a harmonious relationship with governments in this space. But anyway, I like that meme. This one's so good, man.
There were so many scammy projects, you know. It's like it's hard to be optimistic about it, but that's why we hoped we could be that project.
Dude. Gotta work on that Photoshop skills. I kind of like how scuffed it is.
Hard to be optimistic about it, but that's why we hoped we could be that project.
Indeed. Trying to operate with, operate ethically and operate and set the standard. And setting the standard for making people wait for times on the mobile game. Like, look at this bar and look at this man's face right here. Illuvium 0 is causing this level of pain for our players, Grant. Are you gonna get on Johnny to fix the build times, to fix the cooldowns?
Maybe they get worse. Who knows? You know,
just worse. For the memes, for the memes.
I love seeing people play Illuvium 0 right now. You know, to see that that's in alpha state, right? Not even in a beta state. So
it's really cool.
So good.
It does. It looks so good. I
could just stare at it. I could just stare at the artwork all day for that. And there were people who got really angry early on. Where is it? Where is it? And I'm so glad we delayed that stuff to make the artwork really good. And also give the developers time to improve as well, because had we released it, it wouldn't have been balanced. Things would have been breaking way more. You know, Illuvium 0 was a little bit more buggy than the...
Yeah, to be honest, like, you play Illuvium 0 and there's no way you're gonna guess it's an alpha. Like, I've experienced 0 game-breaking bugs. Like, 0. And, like, it's in a better state than most games, or probably almost all of the games on mobile that come out.
Other betas we've released, but, I mean, tiny team, and what can you do, right? It's an alpha. It's not a beta. So that's what we're here for, just trying to get us to the finish line.
Makes sense. And for those of you that aren't familiar, all 3 of our games that we're launching with, all 3 interoperable blockchain games in our universe, are currently being beta tested. So we've got tens of thousands of players playing Illuvium Overworld, playing Illuvium Arena, and now playing Illuvium 0. And so obviously we need to test all 3 if they're going to be properly interoperable with each other for the open beta that's happening later this year. So excited about it. Also so excited about this leak. Did this show up at your house? Is this picture from your house?
By the way, I think it's so cool that they let a big percentage of the community into the private beta test. Like, usually you don't have the chance to do that, but the private beta test has been huge.
Or is this like from Roger? Give everybody this is at Roger's house. Got it. Can you give everybody the context on what this physical merchandise is?
So when you get your Illuvitar, you have the option to print it in real life, right? Comes on a really high quality, high resolution super clean print, and it comes boxed. It's a product, right? Like if this is something that you settle on, you want to settle on your profile picture in game. You've acquired all the most rare assets, accessories, and you finally like this is what represents my PFP. You have the option to print that out. So, and you can do that for all of them, right? You can build a printed collection. The idea is that on the sides of the boxes, there's an artwork that through each wave being released slowly builds up, so that if you stack all of the boxes next to each other,
That's mine.
You can't see that.
Don't you look at them?
But
don't you look at
That's
him?
wild. Oh,
He's mine.
I see.
Oh, you don't
keep
see
the
him?
box each wave, so that eventually you can stack it and you get a
It was the
cube
Terra links.
that
Got it.
reveals the full artwork. It's just a little detail. You don't have to do that, right? But adds to the collectability. Everything we've tried to do is like we loved Pokemon. So what makes things collectible? It's little details, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just have littles. Like when you catch a character in the game, you're not just getting that. You've also got to then get all of its emojis and taunts.
There's the artwork on the side of the box you're talking
Yes.
about, Grant.
I'm not sure if you really meant that you get all emojis and taunts and stuff with the character when you catch it. Seems like it would be nice to like earn them by leveling them up or stuff like this.
So basically, you stack
Which kinda
10 of
means the
these.
same.
Let's say it's not exactly 10,
Don't
but
get
let's
them
say it's
over
10.
time.
It'll reveal the final artwork. I mean, I've seen that with comic books and graphic novels that are a part of a collection. I mean, you've got to collect the whole set. Like, could you just get 9 out of 10 and not have it be complete? No, you have to collect the whole damn set. The universe is broken if you don't.
It's so weird seeing this stuff, like photos of stuff in the real world, right? Like it just takes it out of just being a game. Batch 1 is a typo. It will be waves, but for the sake of this first box, it was a typo. But
It's a rare misprint box. Roger will be able to...
It's not rare. It's a lot of them, but it'll have to do.
Okay. Be able to sell it later for $1 million or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about environments. Yep. Everybody loves to end, and just a reminder for those of you that are sticking around for the long term on this episode, we've got Unreal Engine up here, and Grant is going to do a live demo. So it's not just going to be images and videos. We're going to see live in Unreal Engine, current state of development here in a moment. But let's go through some stills that kind of showcase the work of the team before we get to that portion of the show. Really quick, we got some memes. But what if I capture a holographic in the private beta? Yeah, it's a sad moment. It's a sad moment. This is a good meme. This is good memes right here. Thank you, community. Did you know, in order to prepare for the role of an insane and mentally depressed person in the movie Joker, is it Joaquin Phoenix? Joaquin is how you pronounce his first name? Spent 2 weeks grinding in Discord for whitelist. Crypto jokes, friends. Grant liked this. He shared it. He wanted you to see it for the memes. Perfect. Let's move into the next leak. Here we are, Crystal Shores. So what phase are we at here? Help me understand Crystal Shores. And this is from the third party we've been working with, correct?
No, we've done. Emil has been blocking out Crystal Shores himself, and we're just doing overpaints right now.
Ah, I see. This is the overpaint. Got it.
Sorry, I've got some test evacuation thing blaring over the intercom.
Test evacuation? Okay. Well, if you have to evacuate, let me know. Your safety is more important than this leak. Even though the audience would disagree with that.
You'd be seeing me get this rack of hard drives the hell out of here before my own. I'd be throwing it over the balcony.
Some people get their kids. Some people grab the stuff in the safe. He just grabs the hard drives. So everybody's got their priorities.
Yeah,
that's his legacy right there on those hard drives. Got it. So this is the overpaint. Understood. With Crystal
some of the
Shores.
work Alexis has been doing. Just
got it. And we're seeing kind of this. What is this? Are we going to say what this effect is? That's
fog,
kind of
right. Just like with fog, without fog, atmospherics and things like that. You know, we're doing a lot of R&D at the moment with trying to make fog work real time. Like one of the annoying things with the game is it has to work on all computers. And notice how no one really complained about Illuvium not being able to run even on their low-end PC. That's
Yes.
because the team had just done a huge amount of optimization. That's not me, right? Early on, I said, screw them, right? Let's just make the best graphically intensive game possible and pull in hardcore PC gamers. But I don't have the say on everything in the game, and I'm glad. I didn't think we'd be able to get the game looking as good as we did on such low-end PCs, but it obviously does open up the window of our player base massively.
Of course.
I'm glad we did do that, but it's just a nightmarish, hellish amount of work to make a game like Illuvium run on a low-end spec system, because if you do fog, there are ways to make fog work on high-end systems very easily. Just ray-masked, thick ray trace fog, and if you do low-end systems, bad luck, you don't get fog. But we've got to make it work because there are elements to the pathing and things like that that are all interconnected. So
That's cool. Now you're going to show.
Yeah, it must be hard to not make the game easier by turning down the graphics. Like you have in a lot of other games where the competitive settings are kind of the lowest graphic settings because you can see further or whatever it is.
Show us maybe later, don't want to spoil it, this in real time potentially, but what are we looking at here? You could, yeah, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, let's do it.
You're the leak boss. Oh wow. Okay, let's cut to real time here, friends. So this is Grant screen sharing in real time. What's the context here, buddy?
Cantermere. So obviously, when the private beta went out for the overworld, you'll notice the main hub, and it wasn't very detailed and no texturing work whatsoever. And obviously, like when you're like a tiny person
forge
at this scale, you start to notice the lack of detail. And all of the hard surface in our game had to be super clean and polished because there's not a lot of it. We've got the main hub, the Leviathan arena, the Ascendant arena, and the Survival arena. And the main hub is the Survival arena. Right now, it's not in that state, but the idea was that the main hub was the testing ground for the AI that's on the ship to like run like simulations of the battles so that the Rangers can fight, when they actually have to go do it out in the real world. And so this is like the news updated Survival arena. And one of the coolest things about this arena is when I was doing the base design, Aaron wanted the ability to have skins around the arena, right? And
on the interior of the arena, now you've shown us in previous streams, the exterior of this entire structure could be customized, sort of like the colors of a beautiful Lamborghini. But you're saying the interior as well? Am I hearing you correctly?
So see how it's a full circle on the inside, right? Let me just hide this, right? So if I go to change the preview mode, you can see that it's just a flat cylinder around the arena. That has a projection of different types of skins in what's called a cube map in Unreal Engine. So from our perspective right now, it just looks like a cylinder. But in the game, when you're in the arena here, right, that object will be mapped to things like a star field. It will be a region, right? It could be an artwork, right? Different skins that you unlock as collectibles so that in Survival Arena, you're not seeing this as the background, like this sci-fi style. You're seeing a digital projection from Gaudi up the top onto that space. And so
it's kind of like in the science fiction movies where you have the glass map where you can kind of see through or you project stuff on it.
When you're playing Survival and you're getting used to it and maybe you get sick of that background, you can swap the skin out. And it's just another thing in the game that people have to collect and
dude, everybody's so happy with the game already. I feel like if you put in PvP and just leave it as it is, everybody's so stoked. But what they have envisioned for the full release game, how it's gonna be, I cannot grasp the magnitude of it.
Or unlock through competitions, giveaways, things like that. Just things that just add rarity and collectability to every element of the game. So basically what happens is right now, I mean, this is still a work in progress, right? But you can see that you've got the Survival battle board here. This will be level with the water, and this new arena will all be animated. You get really cool lighting effects and things like that. And that when you, from the player's perspective, come into the arena, you can see that you've got the terminal, which will unlock survival. So instead of accessing survival through the main menu, which you will still be able to do, obviously, we don't want to take away the ease of access to these regions, but there will also be the immersive component where if you want to get to survival, you can do it in the overworld, right? So there's no, I have to go to the menu to access this. Why can't I just be the ranger and run into the arena and activate and see how that cinematic kicks off from the player's perspective, right? So
very cool.
Yeah.
So just to walk everybody through who's not familiar in playing our betas, you take your ranger out into the overworld, which is our open world experience. You'll run into this giant structure in the middle of Sanctum Mesa, which is sort of like the home base, sort of HQ, if you will, for you to be able to operate out of. And then this terminal here in the middle of this headquarters is essentially going to let you access the survival arena, where you get wave after wave after wave of adversarial alluvials coming at you, and then you see how long you can survive. And so now the update here then is that you don't click inside of a menu to get into that experience. It's more immersive, and that you can like physically go there essentially through the overworld, as opposed to just clicking a menu and it showing you some load bars and then you just show up in some random arena. Is that a fair summary?
That's a fair summary, but there's another detail that we've added that's coming, and one of the feedbacks we got. So obviously we've said from the start, right? We want the community, we want to listen to their feedback, and one of the most painful feedbacks we got from the overworld was that running to the locker storage and things like that manually got really tiring. So here on this platform, it's not done yet. There will be a bunch of rings around the outside that are color-coded, and they'll be teleporters, right? So if I want to go to the Ascendant Arena or the Leviathan Arena, there'll be like a little teleport platform here, and I can literally just run through that. And so there's like the main central hub, right, where you teleport to by clicking. But when you click and land here, like say Arlen pops up here, she'll be able to run to any one of those other regions, and there'll be no load screen. It will just whoop, you'll just bang, like it's like a window, like Portal, right? If anyone's played the Portal game, to the Ascendant. So you'll be able to just very quickly, if you want to get to the locker storage, there'll be like a little mini teleport here. There'll be one for your inventory, and you can just very quickly bang, 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 and just run and just skip that gap. Of course, you will still be able to do that manually if you so chose. But of course, the main hub was never there to...
It must be so painful for the developer and artist and whatever. You make this beautiful map, and then players are like, yeah, I don't want to run through it. Actually, can you just give me portals to every single location so I don't have to move at all in this world you created?
Force people to do that, right? Because from a game design perspective, that sucks. After playing the game for hundreds of hours, having to run literally from one spot to the next. But on top of that, we have a new lead game UI designer who's solving the locker storage and inventory management UIs so that it all becomes unified and much more easy for the player to access certain things in the overworld. So that was one of the biggest weaknesses in my eyes, the locker storage UI. It was very painful. It didn't look AAA. It kind of looked pretty shithouse, to be honest. And that's all going to be drastically overhauled and completely different by open beta. So that will be addressed.
Could you Jimbo jump it though? Dick Kinks wants to know in chat. Most people have no idea what that means, but anyway. So this is really cool. So we're reducing. So when it comes to things like, let's call it fast travel, we're making fast travel even more frictionless and even faster. It's not just a load screen. It's potentially a boop.
You don't want to hit the menu button and then hover over it.
Hey, it's so cool they're implementing Portal physics, so maybe you can have in the future some Portal minigame.
A circle to teleport.
One of the best games ever.
different areas, you want to be able to just run, bang, bang, bang. You know, if I say, for example, I'll explain how it works. I want to go to the inventory management, right? So I will teleport from the obelisk to here, right? By running from, you know, the obelisk in Sancta Mesa is over here somewhere. I will come out of a region, run into the teleporter, bang, I pop back up at this central hub. I can then, through muscle memory, remember the direction I need to run from that point to get to the locker storage. And then bang, I'll pop up out of here and I'll be straight there at the locker storage. If I want to get back to here and then say the Ascendant, I run back through that teleporter, I spawn back through here, and then run through another one of the circles here and pop up at the Ascendant arena. Totally frictionless, no time involved whatsoever, and hopefully the players appreciate that. The thing I love is that, like, we've spent so much time, just, it's so clean, you know. A lot of sci-fi in games is just overly detailed. It doesn't have a unique style, and we've tried to avoid that. We've tried to have that really eccentric, sharp, curvy, minimalist sci-fi style that will be remembered as that Illuvium style. And
Yeah, yesterday I watched Dune. I haven't watched it yet, and it was really good. And it's kind of that style, very minimalistic sci-fi. Huge spaceships are just an egg.
after this, Cantomir will be working on the Leviathan arena. So we are very close. All these things, like all the detail that we've got here, ETH canisters, right? These play into the lore of the game. Eventually, you'll be able to load and charge these up, which will assist with other things. I don't want to get into that because that's long stretch goals. But essentially, there's a lot planned for the utilization of this hub area in the game.
Fantastic update. Thank you so much for that. And for those of you wondering, can I make this hub in a color that I want it to be? The answer is yes, we're wanting to do that. Do you want to show this off now, Grant, or do you want to go through these other leaks? I mean, shoot, we might as well do it. If it's on the screen, we might as well do it.
Well, I mean, what other leaks do we have? Maybe we do the other leaks. And then we'll...
Let me take a look through here and see if... I mean, there's some environmental stuff and then a ton of rocks.
No, we want to see bright land steps.
Do we end on the rocks?
I think my favorite region by the looks of it.
Let's show off this in-game gameplay here.
I really like the happy, bright maps, like in World of Warcraft, for example. Nagrand was one of my favorite areas. It's just like, it's kind of like this. Hilly.
And then we'll do the grand finale. Will be some incredible looking rocks
and bright.
Alrighty,
it's good running around in those.
Brightland Steps, right? PB2, private beta 2 of the overworld.
Because I don't know, if I run around in a desert all day, it's kind of exhausting. Even though I'm actually not in the desert, it's still like it has an impact on you, even though if you don't experience it.
What are people actually getting? They're getting 2 brand new regions, Abyssal Basin and Brightland Steps. And we are in the closing stages. So this won't look exactly like this for open beta.
Yo, we're getting Abyssal Basin and Brightland Steps in the next update, in the next private beta 3 it is then. Oh, insane.
Just full disclosure, it won't be at the same quality as Crimson Waste was for the first private beta, but all of the functionality of the level will be there. And we are very close to locking off the pathing and set dressing for the private beta. Once again, that will change. But in terms of the look and feel of the level, we are getting there. Each region, remember, was meant to be vastly different. And you notice as I run through here, we've got little platforms. These aren't fully implemented yet, but things like this will be bubble platforms. You'll be able to stand on these platforms, and then a bubble will grow around you.
The lagging comes from me. Sorry for that.
High into the sky, so that you don't have to manually traverse the region.
Wow!
By using your jumper.
It's not finished yet, and it looks so beautiful
those
already.
Systems, which can be really annoying because this level is
so vertical.
You don't realize how big it is. Like, let me spawn in here.
Yeah. So every region, just so you guys know, Grant has said this on previous episodes, will have a unique traversal mechanic. That's unique just to that region. And it obviously is tied into the design of the region, and it's specifically designed, obviously, to help you traverse that particular region. So the current, like you mentioned earlier, the current private beta is in Crimson Waste is the region. And in
Yes.
case you missed it a moment ago, we're aiming for upcoming beta of Overworld to incorporate 2 additional regions into that beta experience. This is one of them, currently in development. He's showing you Unreal Engine right now.
The idea being that each region has different spawn rates for certain characters, so it forces the player, if they're looking to complete the entire deck, to be able to...
Yo, now we're in
It's
it.
going to take a little second here to field of view. Field of view overworld.
How many video games friends that are watching right now did you get to see the actual in development build of the game you're going to be playing and experiencing before it came out? Like never. You maybe saw a 2-minute trailer of some hand-picked clips. You seeing the co-founder of this game studio, this decentralized autonomous organization, showing you what's being built in real time right now on the screen.
Just give me a second.
This region's so beautiful. It just so lush. It's so green. The pink is just so iconic and interesting.
You're seeing I'm streaming from a dev build, so it's going to do a few loading things when I make changes. But I mean, pretty damn cool, right? Like, it to me, it looks even better than the trailer. The level in the trailer was a, hacked together kind of style, but now we've refined it, and you can see just how big it is, right? It's not as big from left to right, but like even the wind in the grass now is being implemented.
Wow.
Ignis, Max, the tech team are all doing their thing. The waterfalls coming together.
Unreal.
Wow, eh?
It's looking so good. I'm sorry. It's just breathtaking for me right now. The scale of these sort of rock formations with the waterfalls just dropping down into nowhere. It's so, I don't know, fantasy or fantastical. And it's
Yo,
just,
there was
it's
somebody
so
standing
cool.
in the grass.
It gives you the way the waterfalls
human.
drop into kind of nothing or nowhere. So cool.
Saw that?
Fantasy or fantastical.
Or she?
And it's just, it's so cool. It gives you the way the waterfalls drop into kind of nothing or nowhere. It makes it feel endless. That's a cool feeling.
So still work in progress, but as you can tell, like Crimson Waste has a very set look and feel, and you get bored of it if you keep playing the game too long. Now, the other thing we've got coming up is the new movement mechanics, the gliding and the sliding. So we're currently cleaning up the level to work with sliding, and you'll see in a second what I'm talking about. Like with here, if you get to the top, the idea of this level, just so you're aware, is to get onto those bubble platforms, which obviously aren't, you can see them spawning up there.
Yes.
These are not implemented properly, right? They're meant to be on a spline system where they have wind attached to them and stuff like that. So they're
What is a spline system for people that are not familiar?
Well, right now they're going directly vertical, and they're not following any set path or trajectory. The idea would be that you'd be able to get on a bubble platform and it would like take you up the side of the hill here, so you don't have to run up it like I'm doing. But the idea of this level was that use the bubbles to get to the top of the level, and then use the new gliding mechanic and sliding mechanic to get to the bottom. So you'll be able to like hold shift or whatever on these declines and like slide down to move quickly. Now, another thing that I don't want to share too much of, in the open beta, you're going to need to be quick, right?
Is the sliding, does that have anything to do with the energy board or no?
It does, yeah. But it's, if you're on a vertical, you'll be able to
Well, let me
slide.
just show that. This was a sneak preview of a leak we're gonna talk about next week, but this is just a trail effects iteration on an energy board. I know we're not saying too much about this, but as you can see, this ranger is using an energy board and sliding down a hill. Now, could you possibly imagine being on an energy board and sliding down in this ultimate skate park right here?
It's getting there, right? Right now we're just working on where to place the containers procedurally. Things like the plants.
Yeah, you gotta be
harvestables.
able to do backflips.
And wakes, right? There's no wakes
Why
in
am
this region
I
yet,
lagging?
because I'm just showing you like an environment.
I'm not
dev
rendering
build.
this. Just
but
watching a rendering of it.
I'm super proud of what
kills
the
my
team's been able
computer.
to do on this level. It's a
Hey, this is beautiful.
massive level when you factor in all the verticality of it. Like Crimson Waste, when you've got all the jumping systems in place, you can very quickly just skid from one area to the next. In this region, right, doesn't matter if you've got the Jimbo jump or not, you've got to use the bubbles to get to the top. And the idea being like, you'll eventually, let me just run over to one of these bubble platforms here.
Very cool. Once again, everything we're talking about, from the energy board, which was just a concept sketch, to this region development, keep in mind, this is a very creative and fluid process. If stuff works and it makes sense, then it gets into the game. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. So this is part of the, I guess, risk of showing in development builds of things, is that we might show you something that might not make it in the game, or it might be different, but we're taking that risk because we do things differently around here. So this is the new traverse. So help me understand. What will kind of the final version of this traversal mechanic look like in comparison to what we're seeing right now?
So instead of me just standing here and nothing happening, a bubble will form around you and take you up to the top of each of these platforms. Mm-hmm. And then you'll be able to use the gliding system that we've implemented to, like, similar to the game Anthem, fly down the region to mine things faster. Right? So you'll go top to bottom, basically. The idea of the level wasn't to manually jump up the top because it's annoying. As you can see, the ranger can't jump very high, so getting all the way up there is super annoying. But
they embodied like the main pleasure things from some action sports in this region. You have like biking in ski resorts in the summer where you go up the hill with your bike in like a chairlift. So you don't have to manually go up, and then you just enjoy the thing on the way down. And the way you enjoy it is the most satisfying thing you can do in any sport, which is standing sideways and gliding, like in snowboard powder or while surfing or even while skateboarding. So yeah, they combined really, really nice things from the real life in this map.
The gliding and the sliding was so cool, like Tarzan.
And gliding, like paragliding or something. That. Also very satisfying. I want to get into that.
It's going to be cool.
I only did once.
I don't know if I ever told you, I was the top live streamer for Anthem in the world when that game came out. I was obsessed with it. And my favorite mechanic in Anthem was just the initial moment where you jumped off the platform and then you could just kind of dive bomb into the open world. That feeling, and they had waterfalls and verticality like this, that feeling is unforgettable. So the fact that sort of feeling and that sort of mechanic is baked into this region, where you can basically take the ski lift, if you will, with those bubbles, go up to the top, and then get that feeling over and over again as you're traversing this region, is just fucking fantastic. Like, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's cool, man. We're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, can't go through the waterfall, but it's work in progress, right? Like, over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will see some drastic changes, and I'll get Mark on to one of the streams and he can run you through just the scope of what the team has been doing. But it's super cool. It's a big region.
There's another
it's not
part
as big as Crimson,
there.
but when you factor in getting to the tops of everywhere to mine things, it is as big.
Big skeleton.
It's
again.
different. I mean, you want it to be different.
Big Leviathan skeleton right here. Crazy.
To mine things, it is as big. So
it's different. I mean, you want it to be different. Like, if this was yet another underground,
this looks like a little bit like Abyssal Basin right here.
Traversal region, blah, blah, blah. We'd all feel samey. This feels so much different than the region people are currently testing in the overworld. Really, really interesting.
Do we show Abyssal Basin then?
Hey, that's up to you, man. If you look, I'm not going to stop the leak fest. Audience, do you want to see Abyssal Basin, or do you want to just go ahead and not see any more leaks? Let us know. Let us know the answer to that leading question in chat. Here, I'll let you load up whatever you want to load up, buddy, and give you a chance to do that.
Look at the scale.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll cut back. Sorry about that.
That's
the entire level. So cool. Can we get that? Cool. Can we get that 3D printed with like little action figures, and I can move my little ranger around on there?
Jeez.
That's beautiful.
Okay, it looks like chat. It looks like chat wants the leaks They want to see Abyssal Basin. Yeah, did you guys like that leak that Grant put together? He basically sent me over some footage. He's like, yeah, can you show this to everybody of Abyssal Basin? So I just did a cut down of some cinematic shots that Grant sent over to me, and you guys seem to really enjoy it. Abyssal Basin is so unique. And before we load into it, it's sort of the swampy, almost barren, toxic feeling region. But it's teeming with life in certain areas, and it has bioluminescence to pop off of the almost desolate feeling swamp. And it's just such a unique region, contrasting so much with Brightland Steppes that we just saw, which is just lush grass, looks like something out of Legend of Zelda. And then Abyssal Basin looks like this. This is, I think, the world's first look anyone's ever seeing of Abyssal Basin kind of moving about in real time. Grant, walk us through the... God, ooh, this has improved since the footage you sent me, buddy.
Yeah, it has. It has.
What?
The team's gone crazy, right? So...
I better put on the Abyssal Basin music you sent me then. Here, let me stop playing this track. I'm going to crank that one up. Here, this is some Abyssal Basin music Grant sent over to me for the stream here.
No ray tracing, so this is performant, right? We're currently in the process of making it run without ray tracing. We've swapped to Unreal Engine 5.1. One of the really, really annoying things about Unreal Engine 5 was reflection captures weren't working with baked lighting. And so water, you notice like all the acid water in Crimson Waste sucked. It looked shit. And now that's been improved, and this is still work in progress.
Yeah,
like, what a cool region. Just totally different.
Looks so good.
Still the Illuvium style. Vanya's going absolutely cracked out insane, set dressing all of this. So different.
Wow.
You're blowing everybody's minds right now, Grant. Just keep showing it. That they want to see it.
The depth we're getting now with certain areas.
Wow, look at that.
That's crazy.
I just love how they, you know, this could be a region. So many games have regions that have like brown and tan color palettes that are just supernatural. Or not supernatural, but like that are just very natural and almost blandly natural. This region with the underlighting, the lighting under the shrooms, the purpley pinkish Illuvium signature color bioluminescence, and sort of fantastical magic that glows and contrasts with the environment makes this just like a work of art.
That's
it looks so good.
Looks so good.
It's work in progress, right? You're not seeing final details.
It's kind of like the feeling you got when you watched the first Avatar, like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And it was just like mind-blowing.
It's like right now you notice like around the water lines and stuff like that, there's not a lot of detail here. Remember all of those
yeah, we're getting 7 of them.
The hanging stuff like this, right? This type of detail, right? Now this is part of this asset, but eventually it will be hanging off stuff, right? We'll have reeds in the water, right? So it won't just be like just completely empty. Like near the shoreline, there'll be a whole bunch of plants scattered around. Like it's
assets.
We're showing you work in progress, but just
I was trying to show the assets and I screwed it up. But yeah, assets like these vines is what he's referring to. Stuff like this, which will help mask the transition, like you were saying, correct me if I'm wrong, the transition from the water to the roots of a plant or something. By having some vines or having these extra details there, it makes it look more immersive.
All right, here's a perfect example of where Vanya's actually going in and doing that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Those assets you just showed are here, right? Now, they're not fully implemented properly, like in terms of shaders finalized, but you can see it just adds that level of life to these mushrooms. Like now they feel set in, and all of those need to be added to things like the rock cliffs and stuff like that.
This is the coolest looking area in Abyssal Basin I've seen so far. These shrooms with this green and orangish color scheme here are amazing. Then you have the blue as well. Like the more variety there is in color of this sort of bioluminescence or whatever we want to call it here, the more the region feels special. This is just really, really interesting to see this sort of upgrade since the last Abyssal Basin footage.
7 different regions, all vastly different. Got some just test VFX here, right? Like you're seeing work in progress, obviously, but these are just like little tests, you know, so that they're bringing life into the regions. The other thing too is the lily pads, right? So the player cannot get to certain areas in this region without using that lily pad for traversal. Well, not easily anyway. Maybe people will, like Jimbo, will find a friggin' workaround to it. But the idea is that, like, say if we come over here, we just go lower because it feels like we're going faster. I've slowed it down. I'm using my controller to navigate through the region.
Yeah, he's got the cheat codes, obviously, so he can go through
Look at
stuff.
that. It's like being in the King Kong world, right? So to get down here, right now you're not seeing the lily pad spawn because I'm not running the game, but you will have to jump and piggy hop the lily pads to get to areas, because like I'll show you, there's work in progress happening. Let's just go lower. Lighting's not final, obviously. That's not, like, notice it's getting very dark here. This area hasn't been lit properly. It may...
Oh,
break.
it's lit. All right.
Just so you know where we are.
Through the waterfall?
All of these areas need to be lit. But then you've got this whole underground cavern here.
Wow, the way the light is cascading through the open parts in the ceiling, just highlighting this random plant. It's so ominous. It feels like ancient. It almost feels like ancient ruins in here.
That's what it's meant to. So come back out of the waterfalls. See the lily pads here.
I gotta turn gotta turn this frame effect off. It is killing the footage. There we go.
So cool.
When flashlight for Ranger.
Without all the lighting, it looks like a real shot, like you actually are in a cavern. You don't see a lot, and that light that came through the sky, that was like, this is cinematic stuff right there.
Wow, the way the light is cascading through the open parts in the ceiling,
like this looks
just highlighting
like
this
some
random
Netflix series
plant.
right there.
It's so ominous. It feels
different art direction, look dev, lighting, assets. Each region has completely different assets from the next. We didn't just say, hey, let's just fill 7 regions out with all the same stuff. Basically, 99% of every asset in each region is tailored for that region.
People are freaking out, Grant. What did you do? What did you do?
We're doing it.
That's incredible.
I don't know what people thought, but we're doing it.
People thought the trailer we shared was, they said anyone can just pay for a trailer to look like that. And now you guys are seeing.
Who said that? Nobody said that. Some haters said that maybe on Twitter. It's fucking beautiful.
Regions, the actual gameplay, the actual places that were featured in the trailers, you can traverse them and people will be playing them. So seeing is believing, my friends.
Yeah, I think Kira will live to eat those words. I'm just spawning into the region now.
Cool. Oh, okay. So we can see the Ranger traversing about.
Yeah.
Once again, everybody who's just tuning in, this is work in progress. This is, he's in Unreal Engine. It's development build. So if you're seeing some glitches and stuff, it's just literally what's being developed at the moment.
Because it's a dev build, every time I spawn in, it has to generate shaders and stuff like that. So it's a bit glitchy like this. It's not compiled, basically. So it'll speed up in a second.
Yeah, no problem. I think everybody understands.
Yeah,
we're just kind of getting we're getting like a second look at this region.
That's beautiful.
Are you getting the music coming through from this?
I'm playing music right now, the Abyssal Basin music you sent me. So,
but are you picking up sound from the game? Because the game has the music and stuff running.
Oh, really? Let me check that. No, it's not coming through. So it must be like a screen. The audio sharing setting. It doesn't appear to be pumping that audio through for me. So I've been manually adding a soundtrack to the footage. If it comes through, though, I'll be able to hear it on my headphones. If not, it's okay. We literally have the soundtrack from this region playing.
It should be coming through now.
Let me check it. No, it's not coming through for me.
Okay, damn.
We'll just double check that for the next stream.
Yeah, all good. But you can see the lily pads and stuff like that.
Very cool. So these. Okay. Yeah, I remember in a previous showcase you were showing lily pads that maybe had some physics, so when you jumped on them, maybe they would move about and would react and rock as you jump on them to make it more realistic. Lily pad travel. Very cool.
Hey, I found out another thing that felt good in another scenario, and that's now in Illuvium. In Super Mario Brothers, like the first few games, the 2D Super Mario Bros. You had like those maps where everything was bigger, like all the blocks were bigger and all the turtles and whatever. And that's kind of like this. Like you feel like a frog jumping from lily pads, running around in the mushrooms.
So we're getting there, right? We are getting there. So these two regions will add to the Crimson Waste loop, and I think it's going to, you know, people are going to start to feel the depth of the game. And you get bored of one region, cool. Tomorrow I'm going to play another region and hope I can get different characters in those regions. And then as we go into open beta with these 3 regions, we're preparing the other regions, which I'll quickly show you where they're at. And like, for example, I'll show you the block out for Shard Bluff.
Cool. I'll let you load that up. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please retweet on Twitter this stream so other people can see the incredible work the team is doing and this project is creating. And then be sure to like the stream on YouTube as well.
Okay, loading in here.
All right, we had other leaks, Grant, but we're just getting so sidetracked with the best leaks ever. I love it when you do live demos, man. These are always the best. Here, let's cut into some more live footage from Grant.
So this is the block out of Shard Bluff, right? You want to know the scale, right? We're in the process right now of locking off all the last remaining assets for this region. And so when the team finishes up on Abyssal Basin and Brightland Steps, we start working on the other regions, and the scale of this region is just psychotic, right? And this region is going to be one of the last we release, but incorporates all of the best movement systems. We got trampoline plants, right? So you'll be able to jump. You'll notice these little square things here. They launch you up through the level, and then you'll be able to, on the way down, glide down, right? So when you get to the top, it's like very Lord of the Ringsy, Mordor inspired.
It does feel that way.
Look, I mean,
I'm sorry. Help me
quickly.
understand one more time the unique traversal mechanic. What exactly is it that's kind of propelling you upwards?
Trampolines. See all these square platforms?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Better to just show you.
Now, obviously, they're just squares right now, guys. This one's obviously earlier in development.
This is a block out, yeah.
Block out is the phase.
Yeah, this is a block out. The idea being, though, that the region's so big, so how do we make it feel smaller? Well, you have to be able to traverse through it faster. And the only way to do that is to supplement the movement mechanics with something that just launches you through. So this is super cool.
Very cool.
But we don't have gliding yet, or the grappling hook, or sliding.
Yes, you guys heard the words grappling hook and sliding energy board, all of that. You heard all of that on the stream. You were not imagining it.
The overworld will become fun. I don't want to leak one of the gameplay mechanics we have in store for open beta for the overworld. But put it this way. If anyone's playing the private beta, make sure you get good at doing things quickly, because at some point in the game, speed is going to matter a lot.
Awesome. So basically, the lava is going to come up on the ground, or well, I'm just kidding. All right.
Come on, it's just loading.
It's all good. You know what? I'm going to show a couple leaks while we're waiting for that to load.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get back to
here's
the
some
leaks.
environmental leaks with some what looks like corresponding icons for collectible goods.
Remember, I was saying on one of the previous showcases that every single NFT will have that same love and attention put into it as the character NFTs did. So we're in the process right now. Any UI element in the game that is an NFT that you trade in our universe will be rendered in 4K in V-Ray by Dimitri and I, so that the consistency is there. It will be animated,
consumables,
you'll get a slight back and forth rotation, and
berries.
That means
there we go.
Taking it from these 2D artworks to full 3D. And it also means that in future games, if we want to tie in some of these elements as actual assets,
that's some red
we've got them
blueberries.
there in 3D, right? So it's future-proofing ourselves as well. Because what if these little berries or something like that are utilized in a totally different game and they can't just be 2D artwork? So we're front-loading all of that work.
Preparing for the future,
that's
preparing
crazy.
For that 10-year.
Have you noticed that everything that Grant says, they do like the maximum effort, so they have like in the long run, they have all the hard work done already, and then they have all those Lego blocks, all those assets to work with. So they're not like just 3D printing a Lego world, they're actually producing every little block and then building the world with those blocks, so that in future they have all those assets they can work with. So insane
timeline.
It's really cool to dive into
that franchise building. This is franchise building, guys.
Of the people who
this
work
is not
on the project.
Just putting out some cheap Web3 knockoff crypto game and then hoping it pops off on Twitter for a day. This is building a game universe, a intellectual property that can last for decades. Just showing off some of these. I love this icon art here, by the way. It's beautiful. I love it. At a glance, that's actually, I know this is just some random art, but it looks beautiful. With fire particles are coming off of it and everything. It looks really nice.
Yeah, all those particles will be 3D, done in TyFlow, in 3ds Max. And it's a lot of work. You know, we got a lot on our plate, but as soon as we finish the NFT artwork, things like that, right? We can go to open beta with not having every single NFT finished, right? Because it's like, who cares, right? Like, it's not about the artwork for that stuff. The characters, it's about the artwork, but we're not going to get every NFT finished, but those will be updated. And that's the beautiful thing about the NFT side that not many people are aware of. Most people think that the NFT is final, but it does allow for updates. And that will be part of the disclaimer by joining our game in open beta. You know, until we're out of open beta, the disclaimer is that the NFTs that you own can be changed or improved. And hopefully that gets passed by council. We'll probably run through and
of course, I want my NFT to be improved
cool
until
with
release.
This being updated or whatever, and the council approves that process, so that we're not just like randomly
slowing it down
NFTs
makes him sound super high.
Makes sense, yeah. So for those of you that are not familiar with the project, Grant doesn't call all the shots. His brothers Kieran and Aaron don't call all the shots. The council calls the shots, and they're democratically elected. And
I'm sorry.
It's a whole new process to make decisions about building an intellectual property in a game universe, to have random people get elected and make big decisions about this project, but we're doing it. We don't do things in a conventional manner. I'm just showing more environmental assets. That all those little details, guys, all of these details go into creating those more polished looks and experiences like you saw a moment ago in Abyssal Basin. I'm almost done showing these, and then if you'd like, we can cut to your screen share, and then we can end the episode by showing really just the plethora of rocks that you sent over to me. I mean, it was dumb. This is the geyser room, by the way, a unique traversal mechanic that is going to be unique to this particular region. And this geyser is going to shoot you upward. That's been demoed in a previous showcase. Just a beautiful looking artwork for that geyser room. And then even more assets, right, Grant?
I mean, once upon a time, all the showcase was basically sharing.
Dude, if you speed up or slow down, it's like a different human speaking. It changes so much.
Environment assets like plants and stuff like that. And now
I had like a video where I was speeding up like long rants, like I was doing like an explanation of the arena. And every time I was talking for too long, but I didn't want to cut it out, I was just speeding it up. And it sounded like my alter ego is speaking, like my evil twin or my better twin or whatever.
Now it's transitioning towards like final NFTs and full regions being developed.
You warned me. You said, look, in 2023, you told me, I'm going to have actual stuff to show you on the show, Andrew.
So, by the way, if you didn't notice that, like he said, all the things you own in the game are NFTs. You own them for real. And they want to make sure that all those NFTs, they look good. So that's what they're doing right now already, making them look very good. And they might even be updated until the release. And it's kind of the quality of the Illuvitars, they set their level really high. So all the other assets, which are also NFTs, gotta be also very high level of quality.
Get ready. I'm like, yeah, whatever, Grant. You're always hyped about whatever. You're right. It's all coming together. It's all becoming real. It's all becoming an experience that you can show on the screen and that people are now testing in our betas. And that's exciting. Okay, we won't reveal the rocks. All right, if you're cool with it, let's go ahead and show screen
rocks.
share here. So what region are we looking at here, and what is this
Shard
square?
Shard Bluff, Labyrinth, Blockout. Right? So these will eventually be trampoline plants, with physics and stuff.
Oh, they are. Woo! That looks fun.
Pretty crazy.
Wow. Very good.
I've turned the sound down. And then you'll obviously be gliding. Right now she's falling, but you'll be gliding through the level.
Not even paragliding. I think it's gonna be more like, how's it called? The suit, where like a flying squirrel, like the. You know what I mean, though.
Very cool.
If you want to get back up, right? It's like very tricky it's impossible to jump up here. But I can't.
So you basically have to use these unique traversal mechanics.
Yeah, absolutely. It's too tall.
Got it.
This region is just too big, right? How do you get up there manually?
We have not shown the gliding mechanic, correct?
Yes, no.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Right. So that's coming, guys.
Yeah, like even this right now, like using the jetpack wouldn't be as efficient for something like this.
Wingsuit. That's what I've been looking for. It might be like paragliding, like slow, or like high velocity wingsuiting. I mean,
yeah, the level's so gigantic. I mean, you just have to. You need something. You need some way to get up high and then let gravity take its course and bring you down low as you're collecting everything in this particular region and doing your run. And as you mentioned earlier, it's all about efficiency when you're doing these overworld runs. And so finding the most efficient path to use this traversal mechanic to clear the level is going to be the secret, is going to be the difference between you just being some average Illuvium player and the ones that are going to be toward the top of the leaderboards. Very cool. That looks so fun. I mean, I know this is early in terms of the build out here, but it looks just fun to go boing and to have some fun,
It's getting there. I believe this, if there's like some award in mainstream about like level.
They're really subtle about their color uses. They got, the base color is black, even purplish at some points. Then they got the orange, yellow. They got the blue, and back there they had the red. So they don't over clutter it with color and stuff. It's very like subtle regions that are color themed.
Of the year, this will be a contender for it in its final state. The thing I'm excited about is like we've got all the regions blocked out now, but on top of that, 95 to 100% of all the assets for each region are done, and so we're no longer using any outsourcing at Illuvium for things like environment art. Onyx just finished up with us on Tiger Boreal, right?
Jimbo
so
Glide.
Now we're all in-house at Illuvium and looking forward to getting the rest of these regions in a playable state for private beta. So obviously when we go to open beta, there will still need to be private betas for the upcoming regions, You know, instead of sending it out to everyone, we'll just do play testing, make sure it goes through the QA process. And obviously, Aaron implemented the lore mechanic where players themselves would be able to unlock the next region, right? And we haven't explained how people will do that, but it will be up to the community to unlock the next region once we're ready to go with it. So our goal internally is to start with the 3 regions and then have a drip feed process. How long that takes, it's hard to say right now, but obviously the goal is to not make people wait too long, you know, like maybe they wait 3-4 months or whatever and another region comes out. 3-4 months, another region comes out, so that you're...
Hey, that is a good approach. Like, we just had one right now, Crimson Waste, and it still was fun to play it over and over again for at least a month. And if you have like 3 of them and you can alternate between them, I think it will take years till you, or at least a year till you get bored of those 3 regions.
Allow...
So every 3-4 months. It's really nice.
The player...
And it's not going to be sold extra or something. It's not like a DLC you have to pay extra for all those regions. Like, that's what traditional Web 2 gaming would do here. Everybody says, like, Web 3 is only scams and whatever, but if you look at just normal Web 2 games, like, if they bring out a new feature, it's going to cost you. Not here.
Base to... It's almost like a DLC. And once again, don't take those numbers for face value or anything like that, because it can change. We may have some regions ready sooner, some regions ready later, but that's the general idea, right? Players will be able to come into those 3 main regions, and then as the other regions unlock, those other rarer characters start becoming more prominent because the regions are now unlocked. Eventually, when all regions are unlocked and the bonding curves for all alluvials start to drop, we start implementing batch 2 or wave 2 of the next set of alluvials, and we will also continue working on different regions in our game. So that gets us out of open beta. So I'm really, really excited to see where the rest of the environment stuff goes, because now we have a very well-oiled environment team and things are happening really quickly and efficiently, and the artwork is looking really great. So it's coming along. So maybe I'll show
pending council approval, of course. But you know, as each of these regions are rolled out, the idea, I guess, I'll use some air quotes here. You know, it would be let's call it a free DLC, if you will. So this is not, we're not going to sell you each of these regions as a you know, $20 bundle to get access. Some people were asking earlier, is Illuvium free to play? You'll be able to experience all of these regions for free. But obviously, to get, you know, certain levels of alluvials and access to certain items that may be tradable on the Illuvidex for monetary value, then there's going to be a financial component there. All right. So I know you want to show something else here in these regions. Hold on a second.
The battle board.
Is that a battle board?
Yeah. So Emil has been updating the...
All right, we got to put this on the screen. What kind of battle board are we looking at here, bro?
The Brightlands.
It's kind of like it used to be, like, pay for a game back in the day, $60 for a game, and then you have it and you own it and that's it. Then it transformed into free to play, so you can play the game for free, but all the skins and DLCs cost money. Or maybe not DLCs, but it ended up being League of Legends, where the game is totally free, everything of it, but it's all about skins. And now it is like, it's free to play, but if you want to get to the high end, you have to pay a bit, because everything you get from those high end levels is going to be actually your NFT and you own it. Like, you get money out of it because it's an NFT and it's worth something in the real world. That's why you have to pay a little bit to get those skins that actually belong to you. Like, it used to be, you pay for skins and then you get the skin, but you actually never own it, you cannot trade it, and it's just a skin. But now you get that skin, you still have to pay for the skin, but you actually get it as an NFT, and you own it, and you can get value out of it again if you want to move on from the game or just want to sell it anyway.
Steps battle board. Now, this is work in progress, as always, but coming along. right? All the vines right now will be swapped out. You can see they're just placeholder. They look shithouse. They're going to be swapped. But the scale of, and this is where in Brightland Steps, you'll be battling for Brightland Steps characters. So pretty cool.
I love the gold color of the, I know it's just a color, but the gold color of the battle board, it looks premium.
And then maybe I'll show the Abyssal Basin battle board. It's been a while since we showed that.
Yeah, I think you showed it a while back, and you blew everybody's socks off at the end of a showcase episode, because it was their first time seeing anything that even resembled Abyssal Basin, kind of finished-y look.
Yeah.
But this is going to be, I'm curious to see what the progression is like
The rock
on
screen
this
in
and
front of
see how it's come along. Cool. While Grant is loading that, why don't we show
the rocks?
everybody's favorite assets on the screen? And that is the asset known as rocks, my friends. We just wanted to show you some rocks while he's loading this up. Oh yeah, we're gonna finish with that Abyssal Basin battle board. I'm looking at it right now, but this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Here are some rocks. So the beta will be out in a few days. What last things do we need to polish? Optimization, bugs. What about the rocks? Now in this meme, he gets thrown out the window, but not at Illuvium. He actually gets promoted, or maybe even as co-founder.
The art director.
He's the art director. I love it. Look at these rocks, my friends. Going from complex to simple design, not easy.
It looks
Come
like
on,
it
let's
goes
see some
from
love in chat
complex
for
to
some rocks.
easy.
Here's some before and afters. So the idea here with these rocks, correct me if I'm wrong, is to just reduce the poly count or the complexity so that they don't eat up as much system resources. Help me understand that.
No, it's just showing the polished high-res sculpt versus the low-res in-game geometry.
I see. Okay. There you go. I did not understand.
This is general style, and this is Illuvium style. Polished, simple, straight to the point.
Okay.
In-game geometry.
Have you ever seen rocks so premium as these?
Yeah,
it's
Lorette
pretty
has been
premium.
going sicko mode on all of these. These are all of the mineable deposits.
Gold nuggets
And
with
once
diamonds
again,
in it.
Those will be NFTs. When you go into our game and you mine a deposit, that NFT will be in your wallet. And you want that.
Like, this used to be only rocks for me. Like, I didn't care about the rocks leaks at all. But now that I've actually gone into the overworld and actually harvested this, and now I see how it looks up close.
NFT to be high quality,
impressed.
4K, animated, just like everything else.
What is that?
So
Have you
feel
ever
like
seen
I
a
own
game
it.
development house so obsessed with freaking rocks here, guys? Look at the, I mean, this is next level rockage. Grant, is it your fault these rocks look like that we're so obsessed with them? I mean, this rock right here looks really awesome. These are some of the best looking rocks we've ever shown on the show. I'm gonna say this is probably the most S tier rocks we've ever shown off. Can we get some of these 3D printed?
These are the valuable ones, right? Like, these are things that hold value in the game. You'll be able to sell these on our marketplace. So it's not just a UI icon. It's an asset that you own. And just like an energy card in Pokemon, you want these to feel premium. And so we've gone all out, right? Like, I can't wait.
That's a really
what
good
I'll
comparison. Yeah.
What I'll do is, in maybe after next week's showcase, I'll get on a live stream rendering these out in V-Ray and show people how we take them from these assets to fully rendered, animated, final assets in game.
That would be interesting.
That would be like,
Because now
honestly,
they look
that
like
would
plastic,
be like Act 3 of our rocks
because they're not rendered yet.
story arc that we've been creating through these showcase episodes. You saw like drawings of what the rocks might look like, early modeling of the rocks. You're seeing these more further down the road development versions of them. Then they get rendered as beautiful, beautiful assets that you're asking yourself, I've never cared about rocks before, but now I love them. Rock
But for me, that connection only came when I was collecting them in the overworld. Now I love him. Before that,
plushies. I'm just saying. Look at these effing rocks, man. These rocks are legitimately impressive. I'm taking a moment to zoom in on them because they're actually really, really beautifully designed rocks. Like a lot of the time, the rocks look pretty bland, right? It's like literally just a brown rock. But these, because they have coloring and they have these interesting variety and textures, they actually look really nice.
Living under an alluvium rock would be a compliment.
Oopsie. Wrong scene. Sorry, the rocks broke my break for a minute. I'm back though.
No.
And look. I mean, you want to look at all these rocks on the screen. I think this is an image just labeled all rocks. This is all rocks. Maybe this should be its own NFT collection. Just the rocks.
We got it. We got it.
Nerf rocks. Rocks are pretty overpowered.
Here,
you
I'll
got a trailer for next week.
I have some leaks on what we're gonna show. I'll just do this real quick, and then we'll do the
Cool.
and then we'll do the Abyssal Basin. So next week,
Cool.
I already showed this off earlier. I thought this was a cool reveal. Actually, we talked about it a moment ago. Energy board. I think this is the first time anyone's seeing a mock-up of a concept of an energy board in Illuvium. So, need to slide down a hill? You could do it on your butt, or you could bust out an effing energy board in the Illuvium world. I love it so much. Very good. We have tons of these. These are, is this an emote? Is that
Emotes.
Correct?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much
More
smoking in Illuvium. What's
Obviously,
going on?
what's in their hand is a piece of candy. But we have tons of emotes to show next week. Like 30 of them.
Might as well
that
make
Grant
it a
sent over to
joint
me.
if
These
you
are
put a
part of
cigarette
the
in there.
assets I caught out of this episode to show you next week because there's so many of these beautiful works of art. I really wanted them to have their own time in their own episode. And then what are these morphopods? Don't say anything, Grant. We'll talk about it next episode, but there's lots. Earth, water, fire. What is a morphopod? Why do all these varieties of them exist? Next episode, my friends. Doodle-a-doot, doodle-a-doot, doodle-a-doot. All right. That's next week on Showcase.
like
We're
to
here in
make my own
Abyssal Basin to
soundtracks.
show off this battle board. Help us understand how it's progressed since the last time you showed us this battle board during Showcase.
Well, I don't need to say anything. I just show it around. It's so cool. Maybe I did. Did I show this updated version?
You have not showed this updated version to anybody. That's why I was at. I mean, we can try to eyeball it, but it's really nice to get context from you on like what specific type of work has been done since just
Vanya.
in
I
the
swear
near
I've
recent
maybe
past.
shown it. Maybe I've shown it. Just Vanya had just completely overhauled it and opened it up. Yeah, I think I did because I was talking about the way the encounter dome has to come down around the board. But yeah, so we've got for the next private beta, the battle board's in a workable state. The region's very close to being in a workable state. We're locking off our work as an environment team on the regions in 2 weeks' time, short of any catastrophes. And then it goes through the QA process, getting them ready for private beta 2. So we've got a lot to do in the next 2 weeks, but private beta 2 is coming soon and players will be able to start testing, like ASAP, the 3 regions together. And, then we're getting very close to what we said would be out in open beta, right? So obviously after the private beta, we gain feedback on how performance is going. That's the number one thing, right? If people can't run it, who cares how the game is? Second to that, are the levels playing well? Are they boring? Are things not making sense to players? And we fixed all of that for open beta, which hopefully comes soon. But yeah, I think it was a great showcase. I'm a little
I
bit
agree. This was an amazing showcase. We have this much to show you, actually more in terms of leaks for next week. I love the zoom outs, man. Give it to me. And I agree with the comment in chat. You can feel the humidity. Whoa. How come the world is stretched? We just go multi-dimensional there? Whoa!
Whoa, that's tripping me out.
Dude, that's crazy. Is that like on tons of drugs mode or something?
Wow. Yeah, no, it's just like camera settings with the controller.
Okay, got it.
Cool.
That's awesome. Honestly, Grant, we really appreciate you compiling all of this, and I know that this is the hard work of the team, and it's so cool to be able to show their work in real time and to be able to show the progress on all of these regions. Grant, I'm glad our show is back, buddy. I missed talking about all this cool stuff with you.
Yeah.
Let's do it all again next week.
Easy. Well, we can share the hollows and dark hollows. I can't believe they didn't make it in this week, but it's all good.
I thought he wasn't going to show them.
We will. Those dark hollows. We won't tell you what they're all about.
Don't.
Got to save it for our next lore award. I had to make fun of it. That's the last time I'll make fun of our lore award. I just had to do it in front of Grant, just to talk about the absurdity of our industry right now. But Grant, thank you so much for joining me on this Illuvium Showcase. I'll see you next week. Adios, amigo. And we've got another 100 leaks we're going to go over next week. We'll see you then. And Grant left us with adios, dude. And Grant left us with a piece of music that I wanted to play full volume for you guys. So you guys stick around and listen to this. This is original soundtrack Grant is sharing with us from the soundtrack team for Abyssal Basin. You heard a little bit of it in the background earlier, but I'm going to play it full volume for you to enjoy while I do a nice looping animation. Listen to Abyssal Basin music. This is going to be paired up with that swampy, desolate, yet incredible bioluminescent experience we showed you a moment ago. Thank you for watching Illuvium Showcase. We'll see you in the next one. There you are up there. We'll see you in the next one next week, right here on our social media. Here it is. Enjoy the music.
Yeah, I could see him be a Illuvium radio host. Imagine in-game you have like you can receive radio, and there's like different people doing different Illuvium themed radio shows or podcasts or whatever. Yeah, sing for us, Andrew. That's cool that they have like the end comment section here. So yeah, if you want to check out more of that, I did a crazy video about Ludwig and gaming and Web3 and how it's all connected and how like the thing I've been talking earlier, I'm sure a lot of people of you already have seen it. Like everybody's just focusing on the scammers in Web3, and I wanted to show how Illuvium is not a scam and how it proves to be like the best project out there and how it proves to be everything we've dreamed of, and that's why we're here. Thank you so much for watching. I see you tomorrow. Peace out. And let's let this roll out.